following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
Hello and welcome to the Sci Fi Update. I'm your host, Tony Harper. In this week's episode number 19, I'm going to list my top 5 sci-fi channel or sci-fi shows that I think are just fabulous. I am going to use Rotten Tomatoes top 100, and we're going to go through the full list of 100 from Rotten Tomatoes. Decided to change it up from IDBM. Just because they look like they had a better list than IDBM did. IDBM had a lot of newer stuff and some stuff that wasn't even out yet, and I'm like, you can't even rate it as top 100 if the show hasn't even come out yet. So I went off of Rotten Tomatoes. As usual, we're going to start off with the news, and unfortunately in the news, we do have to mention that Star Trek actress Nichelle Nichols, unfortunately, has passed away. She was a pioneer in sci-fi TV shows. She, along with William Shatner, had a lot to do with how science fiction was portrayed from that point forward with Gene Roddenberry. It is very unfortunate that we won't get to see anything else from her. The news this week wasn't a lot of extra crazy stuff in there, and I'm still trying to find a great news site. A lot of times when I go into the news and stuff, it's all over the place, and if I don't save it or try to remember it, like I forget what has happened last week, and it's been 2 weeks since the last time I recorded. So I went to the Sci-Fi Wire off of the Sci-Fi channel and tried it this time. And they got some fiction and real stuff in there, like mouse embryos from scratch, no sperm or egg required. And the fact that we can build those without having to have an egg has really changed the dynamics for bioengineering and some of that stuff. It relates back to our last episode. And I just think that it's insane where we're going to. And then again, another one that's real, a wearable gas analyzer that could detect allergens, chemicals, or even possibly diseases in the air. I thought that was interesting, science fiction-like. And another science fiction-like that's real science, again, is 3D bug nuggets. 3D printed bug nuggets. So what you do is you take parts of a bug and you 3D print actual real food items out. And I can honestly see that being as part of our future here at some point in time, particularly with global warming and everything else crazy that's been happening. I just think that it's insane that we haven't really gone to that way. I mean, realistically, if we go back and look at Japanese culture, Asian culture, a lot of that stuff, a lot of those eat it. It's just American culture that really has a hard time eating like bug-like items unless they're shrimp. I mean, shrimp is kind of like a bug of the sea, and I love shrimp. I don't have a big problem with eating bugs as long as they taste good. I just rather not know that it was bug to begin with, and I might be more fine afterwards. Let's see what else they had in here. A lot of their stuff about their Resident Alien TV show, which came out not too long ago. Season 2 for there, which I don't really care about. It's just I haven't really gotten into it. There's so much sci-fi out there right now. I'm having a hard time finding enough stuff that I want to keep interested in. Yeah, let's see. I didn't see anything else in here that was significant enough to report. Season 6 of Rick and Morty will return September 4th. Love Rick and Morty. It's science fiction-ish. I mean, I know it's an animated cartoon, but I find it hilarious. I hope the rest of you guys do too. And yeah, I'm not going to keep flying through there because there's a lot of space in there. And even off of the Microsoft Bing stuff, there's a lot of, as usual, op-eds. A lot of, oh, this is what I think and this is what it is. That's not real news in a lot of cases. And I just wish I could organize this news a lot better for what I need. Even Locutus and a couple other things. A couple of the other sites I've been finding too have not been updated since like 2021. At least Locutus is keep updating, but they're still they do a lot of like who did what awards and that kind of stuff for books. And I do use them for finding information about new books or new sci-fi stuff. So I hope you guys keep trying to use them. But realistically, trying to find sci-fi news has always been a problem. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. So today's show, like I said, we were going to go through the top 100. I do like how Rotten Tomatoes sets up their stuff. I'm not a big fan of what they ranked 100. So they went 100 all the way down to 1. And at 100, they put the Orville. And Orville season 3 just ended, and that's another news article I meant to cover too. Is so far season 4 hasn't picked it up. Now Disney Plus is going to pick up Orville going forward, and play it on there along with. It's still going to be on Hulu, I believe, but I was hoping Disney may pick up a season 4 and something like that, and then Seth still has to find time to do that because Seth has got another couple of projects going on. So we may not see season 4 of Orville for another 2 years, which I think is a shame. A lot of last year's or the last season here were a lot more realistic. And again, it went back to Gene Roddenberry's original sci-fi stuff. And I always have enjoyed that kind of take on science fiction. The next thing they listed is Under the Dome. I'm not real sure about that one. I mean, I watched a little bit of that. It was so much drama that it turned me off. I mean, I get that, you had this dome pop out of nowhere and nothing really was explained. And I never did finish watching the show to find out what it was. My wife did, but my wife refuses to come on this podcast. So the Jetsons at 98. Really love the Jetsons. It came out in 1962. Now, these are some things that certain people that are a lot younger than I am, because this came out 14 years before I was born, haven't even really seen all that much of. And I thought the Jetsons, which, again, they projected it being in 2022 was when George Jetson was born. So all these flying cars and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was a neat take on the future and how things would go on. Astro Boy. Enjoyed this a little bit. I mean, this came out in Japan and initially. I didn't watch a ton of this. The original series of Astro Boy. I watched the second run of it. It wasn't too bad. Thunderbirds. What the frick? 1965. I don't think I've ever watched Thunderbirds. Oh, I'm going to go back. Not sure if I've ever seen it. It looks like I forgot what comedians did that, but yeah, it looks crazy. The Twilight Zone, loved that. It was pretty good. Mork and Mindy, loved that. Mork was an alien from another planet. If you haven't seen it, Alf, loved that. None of these are in my top up there. Planet of the Apes, the TV show. I really liked the movie, the TV show, not so much. Outer Limits, I liked. It was kind of based off of Twilight Zone. It was sort of similar to that. Wasn't too bad. Killjoys, never saw. Roswell, I saw. Again, it was a little dramatized. UFOs, that kind of stuff. It kind of made it sci-fi. It wasn't up there. V. V makes it into really what should be my top 10 science fiction TV shows. The acting was a little poor in it, but I loved all the rest of it, and it just has a nostalgia factor for me. Um, but I really liked V. I liked the science fiction take on it. I thought it was really well done. Millennium, not real thing. It was a psychological thriller. I don't know how much sci-fi was in there. Logan's Run was a TV film. Why do they got film here? I wanted just TV shows. Best sci-fi TV shows of all time. Did Logan's Run come out with a TV show? Oh, I did have it in there. Never mind. I'm not even going to do it. Sequest, DSV. I loved Sequest. I love the thought behind Sequest. I do believe that, let me check this up real quick, that one of my actors from Star Trek Next Generation was in there. Let me see who all was in Sequest here. Let's loading up real quick. What the frick? Why is this Daily Mail? Like, I don't want Daily Mail. Oh, because I'm still under news. God dang it. Man. Wikipedia. Here we go. What? No, I guess not. Yeah, I can't remember who I was thinking of in there. It's been a long while since I saw Sequest. I thought it was pretty good. Almost Human. This came out a little bit more recently, in 2013 at least. An enjoyable show at 84. It wasn't too bad. I didn't watch all of it, but it wasn't too bad. Terra Nova. I like this one. This is when they traveled back in the past from the future because we almost destroyed Earth. I thought that was pretty interesting. Sanctuary. I kind of remember an episode or two of that. Never finished watching that. Dark Angel. I never did watch at 81. So let's check 80 to 61 next. Got to get them to roll up here. Lex from Superman, obviously. Didn't really like that too much. Third Rock from the Sun. I thought this was an enjoyable sitcom. Andromeda, which was pretty good. I thought it was, I do believe, a continuation. No, it's Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. It's a different one than I thought it was. I liked it. And it wasn't, the best, but it wasn't the worst. 4400, the wife really liked that. It was a lot more drama in that too. It was okay. Battlestar Galactica. Now they have the first one, the original one, at 76. I think that's a fairly fair assessment, like being back that far. At the time, I mean, even in the 80s when I was watching it, this came out in 78. So it wasn't too old. It was all right, but it was a little sexist. It was a little, I was watching it for various things. Number 75 apparently didn't bother to load. Knight Rider, loved that. Really thought the smart car would take off. This is the Tesla of the past. Enjoyed it. Land of the Lost was all right. War of the Worlds was pretty good. I got to get this page to reload because I'm missing some of my numbers here, and it's driving me nuts. Oh no, 71 didn't load either. Space and Above and Beyond at 70. I don't really remember. Aeon Flux, MTV. It was a anime. That was pretty interesting. I consider it more anime than sci-fi. Middleman, not really in there. Star Trek Enterprise at 67. I think this is kind of low. I mean, Star Trek Enterprise almost goes to it's number one as far as um, Star Trek shows. I really enjoyed Enterprise with Scott Bakula in it. I thought it was pretty good. Altered Carbon. Now this one from 2018 at 66 is not cool. Altered Carbon is in my top 10. No, like that's just the Electric Dreams. I didn't really see that one. Lost in Space, the original from 1965, I did see. It was enjoyable. Lost in Space, the 2018 one, again, was enjoyable. They put them back to back in the 60s. I don't know. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the TV show. This came out in Europe. I saw it on PBS locally here. And it was enjoyable. It wasn't quite as good as the movies were, I don't think. But I liked it. Buck Rogers, really liked Buck Rogers. Came out in 79. I thought it was very enjoyable. And that was at 61. All right, let's see what 60 to whatever. So 60, Star Wars Clone Wars. Animated Lucasfilms. I think it fills in a lot of details for some of the Star Wars shows. It is good. I'm not so sure it's going to be in my top 10, but it was pretty good. Alien Nation, did not like that one too much. Stargate Universe, that wasn't too bad. Wasn't as good as some of the original Stargate. Defiance, middle of 21st New Rules, completely altered. I don't remember Defiance. I don't remember seeing it. Warehouse 13. I enjoyed Warehouse 13. The acting was a little subpar in it. And the script writing ended up sucking, definitely towards the later parts of the show. Dark Matter. Enjoyable. It came out of Europe. I thought it was pretty good. Red Dwarf, again, little older, but I thought that was enjoyable. Mystery Science Theater. All right, I get this is a TV show, but this was a TV show to make fun of other bad movies and bad sci-fi shows. It is enjoyable to watch, and I think it's a lot better than just watching some of these B flick movies or C flick movies in some cases. But some of the B flick movies, I'd rather be doing what they're doing on Mystery Science Theater and not hear these guys talk about it. Falling Skies, that was pretty good. Wasn't as good as I was hoping it was. I did fall off on that one. Started watching it, never got back to it. Continuum, I do remember kind of seeing this a little bit, but I did not get very far in there. $6 Million Man, enjoyable. Again, this falls back on bio enhancements and stuff. Astronaut crashes back into Earth. And they had to rebuild his body. And at the time in the 70s, it was $6 million. It'd be like $6 billion today if they decided to do something like what they did to him. Better Off Ted. It was a comedy. I never really got into it. Timeless. I don't think I watched either. This came out in 2016. It wasn't too bad. Now and again, I definitely did not watch. They have V in here. Good. Again, because the final battle was the one way at the end. And then realistically, I can understand that. So the final battle was kind of another season of V. and was covering, or the movie of it, and it was just covering the last final battle of it, and the script writing fell off a lot in comparison to the beginning of V. So having V in there twice kind of makes sense. Cowboy Bebop. Now this definitely goes up there. This is in my top 10. It is animated, but the original anime is phenomenal. I don't even think the remake on Netflix ended up in the top 100. I don't think the remakes is as bad as a lot of people made it out to be. I really don't. But I can understand their disappointment. Sliders. I really did enjoy Sliders. I thought that was pretty good. At the time, it had the one actor and it came out in 95. But thought Sliders was pretty good. Dollhouse, I did not see. Space 1999, I did see a couple episodes of that. It was okay. Stargate Atlantis. Now this came after the original Stargate. At 41, I mean that's not a bad placement for it. Caprica, I did not see, but it's basically what happened before the stuff that happened in Battlestar Galactica, and basically the creation of the Cylons. 39 does not show up on here. So Rotten Tomatoes, you need to fix your website a little bit more. Colony was okay-ish. I didn't like it. It was a little too much. And there's Stargate SG-1 at 37. Stargate SG-1 is going to fall into my top 5, barely. I think it's a little unfair to have it all the way back here, but I think the original, when HBO took over, was really cool, and then the rest of it, I mean, they did 10 seasons of it. It was very good. I liked having MacGyver play the actor in there, Richard Dean Anderson. I liked having him in the show, and it was good. Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles was okay. Eureka. Loved Eureka. I thought Eureka really could have gone further than what it did. Eureka was very enjoyable to watch if you did not see it. This is another one that probably cracks my top 15 in there. It's good. Star Trek Voyager at 34, no. I almost hated Voyager. Didn't quite hate it, but almost hated it. Man in the High Castle, I do kind of like that one. It was very interesting. Sense 8 was good. Blake 7 I did not see. And that came out in the 70s. No idea what it is. The Rain was I watched a little bit of it. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Max Headroom was pretty fun. Mystery Science Theater 3000. The Return was okay. Star Trek Discovery coming on up into 27. Discovery pissed me off a little bit with it. Farscape. Liked Farscape a lot. Farscape is in my top 10. Rick and Morty is on up there too. Definitely in the top 15. Deep Space Nine, as far as Star Trek shows go, that's closer to number 1. It's somewhere in my 1 to 3 as far as Star Trek shows. I really have to sit down and think about which ones are in there. I like that. I liked Enterprise, and I liked Next Gen, although Next Gen's acting was pretty piss poor. But I liked it. The 100, it was okay. It wasn't. It was, again, a lot more drama than I wanted it to be. Torchwood. I started watching some of that. I did not fully get into it, but Torchwood seemed like it would be interesting. The Prisoner I did not see, from 1967. That came in at 21. Thought that was interesting. Humans. I did not see that one. Quantum Leap. At 19. Quantum Leap also falls in my top 15 there. I really liked Quantum Leap in the thought of, instead of real-time travel, you're transferring your conscious back into time. I thought it was kind of funny that he had to go back and fix things by transferring his consciousness around. I thought it was a very enjoyable show. And it really stretched a lot of actors in their acting. I mean, the acting was Babylon 5 was quite enjoyable. Futurama probably it definitely cracks the top 15. It might crack the top 10, but I can't remember how I got into it. Counterpart. I don't remember what that one is. But if a person coexists in an alternate world, it seems like a multiverse thing. I never did watch it. The Outer Limits. I did like The Outer Limits. Probably like that better, and it really should be in my top. One of those should be in the top 5, either Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. And I think really the Twilight Zone was a little bit better, even though it was a little older. Orphan Black at number 14. I never saw. And then 13 is Twilight Zone. Number 12, Firefly. Firefly is number 3 on my list. It's damn near I want it to be number 1. It did not go on as long as it should have. Screw you, Fox, and what you guys did to Firefly. You didn't give it a chance. It was very enjoyable. And that came in at number 12. Number 11 was Fringe. Liked Fringe. I watched a lot of Fringe. At one point in time, that would have been in my top 5. I think it's fallen back to the top 15 somewhere, possibly top 10. The Expanse. This is my current number 1. Again, we get new sci-fi out all the time. But on this list, they have The Expanse at number 10. Currently, it is well done. It follows the book very well. I thought the hard science fiction in it was pretty good. I thought the science fiction part of it was out there far enough that we can just kind of let it be without having to explain it. I thought it was very enjoyable. Black Mirror, I wasn't as impressed with Black Mirror as I was with the Twilight Zone and other stuff. Stranger Things at number 8. Stranger Things is in my top 4, but I honestly didn't, or not top 4, top 15, but I honestly have not finished watching it to say if it goes up there. Westworld, really enjoyed Westworld. It is, if you're not used to it, there's a lot of sex behind it. There's a lot of nudity in there. But other than that part, it really is kind of like a dystopian future without being a dystopian future, and like what we could do with things. I thought it was very enjoyable. New season just recently came out on HBO. Lost. I like The Lost. I don't know if it deserves number 6. Lost, and a lot of people, because of the drama and all that kind of stuff, it was fairly high on lists. It was probably really high on my wife's list. It is what it is. Number 5, original Star Trek came out in 1966. Original Star Trek has got to be in my top 15, but Next Gen holds spot number 4 on my list. All right, X-Files. X-Files, at number 3 on here. It's just about right. I have it as number 2 on my list. Really loved the X-Files. Really fell in love with Gillian Anderson, literally, and just the timing of how all that came out. I was in high school at the time. Really enjoyed that show. Number 2, Doctor Who on their list, and number 1, Battlestar Galactica on their list. The original this is the remake of the Battlestar Galactica series, it was a lot better than the original. A lot better than the original. That should also crack my top 15, but I didn't have the nostalgia factor for this, as I think some people did, which is why they rated it higher. The acting was far superior in this than they are in a lot of sci-fi shows. So I thought the acting was really well done. And it was an overall decent show. It's a good starting point, but at some point in time, you're going to see a lot of the tropes that they use throughout a lot of other science fiction shows, and it just felt a little tropey to me and a little whatever. So again, number one on my list was, fuck if I can remember. What did I say? Did I say Star Trek Next Gen? I think I did. I think I said Star Trek Next Generation was number one on my list. No, The Expanse. That's what I said was number one. The Expanse was number one. Next Gen was number 4. That's right. Number 2 was X-Files. Number 3 was... Did I put Westworld at number 3? And Firefly at number... No, I didn't include Firefly because I wanted to include Firefly a lot higher. I think number 3 was Fringe. I really did enjoy Fringe. And number 5 was something further back. Oh, I think it was Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop really was a phenomenal anime. And if you guys get a chance to watch it, get there and watch it. And if you haven't seen it yet, go and see this anywhere. It's available on a lot of different things on there. Highly enjoyable. Expanse is available on Prime Video, and I think it was all on the Prime Video, actually. Very enjoyable. If you like hard science fiction, that is the way to go. All right, this week's episode I'm going to cut a little bit short, just because I want to make sure I edit it and get it out on time this time instead of being late. I am sorry I haven't put out an episode for a little while, and you might get a couple of back-to-back episodes. I'm going to send this one over to Matt just after I sent episode 18. And I'm going to, again, try to get back here and do this a little bit more often, but, you know, life gets in the way. Paid for Matt up until December. After that, he may have a requirement to be a little bit more consistent. Hopefully, I can get a little more consistent with this. I'm still trying to find myself a little bit. I'm still trying to find how I want this show going forward. I've gotten some feedback from some of the people that have watched or listened to me, which ways they want me to go with certain things, and I think it's helped. It's helped me put out a little bit better product, but I'm still all over the place with some of the product. Like, if you saw episode 18, or not episode, the Comic-Con episode, whatever, 15 or 16, whatever, on YouTube, it was a far better product than the podcast that came out. If you saw, or you listened to a couple other ones, the podcast was far better than the video. And I'm trying to find that balance and find time to do all that stuff along with life and everything else I got going on. So hopefully I get a little bit better. I am going to probably, like I said, try to keep it a little bit shorter so I get into there. I still want to get guests on, though. And if you're interested in being a guest, you know who I am or know where I'm at, hit me up. I definitely will invite you on, and we can talk about your favorite science fiction. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.